Hey, what's shaking, everyone? So, with these second uploads of the day, I just want to make my first episode of the day. I do a lot of research on those, and I want to keep that as it is. And then for a second upload of the day, less researched, more of just an opinion piece, a thought piece for you guys out there. Maybe this'll, bounce around in your head for a second. Maybe you'll come to a different opinion and drop it in the comments below. That'd be terrific. We'd have something to talk about because I'm open for engagement. If you guys want to hit me up on Parler, same name, Don Consuelo, or, just, linger around in the comments. It'd be greatly appreciated. But one thing I've been thinking about since Rogan signed the Spotify deal, when was that? Earlier this summer, I think? Or the beginning of the year? I think it was in 2020 sometime. Regardless, we're getting bogged down on semantics here, but he was always going on about censorship and worrying about if the sword of Damocles was being dangled over his head, with YouTube not knowing if and when he's going to get bounced if he has the wrong person on, if they touch on the wrong subject, and it kind of led to the huge, 10-year, $100 million Spotify deal. And it's the second day in, and let's just backtrack a little bit. We'll just go back to day one. There were Aspies everywhere freaking out because there were, a few dozen episodes that weren't uploaded. And first I seen of this, I totally forgot he was making the switch September 1st. And all of a sudden, there are some videos that are popping up, and by some creators that I like very, very much, like Sargon of Akkad. I think he does an excellent job, and if you guys manage to find my small channel, you've obviously at least heard of Sargon. He does excellent work, but yesterday's video was a little uncharacteristically, how do you put it, conspiratorial, I suppose, when those aforementioned few dozen episodes didn't make it up, thinking that it was Spotify censoring them. And if you look down in the comments a little bit, I made a comment on that video, and I just said, I don't remember what I said verbatim, but it was, everybody should just kind of chill out. I'm sure that there's a reason for this, because Joe's been very, very outspoken about censorship and the feeling that Google and YouTube are, overstepping themselves, hence leading to the Spotify deal. So let's just take a look at the list of the people that were left off. So you got guys like Owen Smith, Chris D'Elia, Tommy Chong, Michaela Peterson, Owen Benjamin, Sargon himself, Milo, Alex Jones, both of his, Gavin McInnes, Jason Tebow, Brian Callen, a whole bunch of regulars and a whole bunch of athletes, comedians, and the internet's most notorious figures. Gavin, Milo have been kicked off of everywhere and then created their own platforms and get kicked off of there as well. So it's fair for the conspiracy minded people out there to immediately leap to, my censorship, but I don't know, I didn't take the bait, and we're going to pull up. Speaking of conspiracy theories, we'll go right to the source. So there's Alex Jones was asked about this, or he provided. Reading the article, it says that he actually approached Joe Rogan about what the fuck was going on. You see that his wildly popular episodes weren't a part of the Spotify switchover, so he was thinking, oh my god, my censorship. But it actually turned out that, we'll just fucking read it from here. However, this turned out not to be the case, in reference to, there's Michaela Peterson's Dr. Jordan Peterson. If anybody wonders who I call most of my ideas from, it's from Jordan Peterson. He's the smartest man alive, and I wish him a even speedier recovery, because the times that we live in right now, we desperately need him and his opinions. Anyways, I'll just read his daughter's tweet here. Okay, getting demonetized from YouTube is one thing. At least they didn't shut down my channel. However, this is completely different. Spotify is not uploading select Joe Rogan episodes, including my episode. So on the aforementioned list here, I'll just go right back to it quickly. Yeah, hers, it's got stars next to it. Well, that's weird. Yesterday it said it didn't. What do the stars mean? So at the bottom it says, edit. Episodes with the double stars next to the title have been restored by Spotify. Been restored to Spotify's archive. Speaking a little too quickly for my brain, apparently. Yeah. So all of this conspiracy nonsense was just that. Has Alex Jones actually sets a record straight, which, for people who are unaware of Alex Jones, both of you out there, he gets attributed with a hell of a lot more conspiracies than he actually believes. And if you go back far enough, most of the shit he was talking about ended up coming true in one form or another. And if you ever need a good laugh, gay frogs, him running around the shirt yelling racist, the man's a national treasure. But let's get to this quote that I've been referencing for a month and a half, it seems, at this point. So, in reference to Michaela's tweet, however, this turned out not to be the case. Alex Jones says he spoke to Joe Rogan about the issue and confirmed that there was no censorship actually occurring. Jones says that there were around 1,500 plus files. It's an extensive catalog of podcasts, so 1,500 is apt. Plus files that needed to be moved over from YouTube, and there had been a few problems with corrupted files. Along with a second rollout of episodes, which would explain the missing episodes. So you put out all of the episodes in bulk to begin with. You put out whatever, 1,100 episodes, and then, well, the ones that are left over, probably if you were to rank all of them, they'd be, most of them well within the top 100 and most of them within the top 50. And I believe Jones's are of the most popular. Him, Elon Musk, what's his nuts there? Edward Snowden, they're all super popular. So, and if they were actually going to censor any of them, wouldn't you think you'd go with the Edward Snowden one? The guy who is still in hiding for blowing the whistle on the NSA, but I digress. Yeah, so that would explain the missing episodes. So it's not censorship, but the main point of making today's video was in reference to the enormity of Joe Rogan's contract. $100 million, 10 years. It really kind of seemed a lot like the original Howard Stern contract. I want to get this picture off the screen. It's terrifyingly close. Get a better picture next time of the week, okay? So for those of you who don't remember, I'm sure everyone's familiar with Howard Stern, so I don't need to give the background on that one, but when he signed with Sirius in 2004, Sirius was well behind XM. And Howard Stern, even when XM was rocking and terrestrial radio was still a viable option for people to make money, Sirius snapped up Stern for, $500 million over 5 years, which is insane amounts of money. Even still, that's what, like, high-end athlete money. And for Stern's career, I never found his show terribly funny, but influential, 1,000,000%. So, you know what? Like it or lump it, he earned a huge payday. And as you see, when he signed in 2004, Sirius had 600,000 subscribers. And they ended, those numbers are a bit skewed because Sirius XM merged at the same time to create the one satellite company that's out there. So 20 million at the end of the contract. So you could creatively account it so it looks like the contract paid off, but it says at the bottom, estimated number of Stern's faithful listeners. He's the company's biggest marquee name, undoubtedly. and customer draw among its more than 135 channels of commercial-free music and talk. So they want to attribute 1 million subscribers to him directly. Yeah, that's what it says there. So, yeah, fair enough. I think that's a very comparable situation. Throwing out what Spotify's at right now, I don't know what their numbers are. I know that it's not a tiny company, but Sony's the parent company of Spotify, doesn't have the market reach that, YouTube does, that Google does, but they see the biggest fish in a much larger pond, kind of like how Stern was the biggest fish in a much larger terrestrial radio pond, plucked him with the hopes of recreating that same success. And those of you who may or may not have followed Stern's career, after he signed that contract, everything started to get scaled back a little bit. Not production-wise, a beautiful studio he had created when he first came over to Sirius, kind of like the Spotify brand new Texas studio. And then it wasn't that long after, I forget the amount of time, and then Stern started doing 4-day work weeks. And now Stern is, 3 days a week, 25, 30 weeks a year? I think it's a very, very, very limited amount of time. And if you think that this comparison isn't fair based on age range, they're exactly the same age when they signed these contracts. Stern was 50 when he signed in 2004, and Joe Rogan is just about 50 or a little better than 50. So, in my opinion, they're both, in Stern's, we already have the precedent set. He signed in, set himself up for life, cashed out, and now the show's a mere shell of itself. We can only prognosticate at this point with what's going to happen with the Rogan show, but if the first episode for Spotify's any indication, fucking Miley Cyrus, I couldn't give less of a shit. And like I said earlier, I watch the Joe Rogan show religiously when there's thoughtful, intelligent, funny guests. And celebrities don't do it for me. You look at the view counts on the Joe Rogan YouTube page, you see that the highest rated podcasts or the most watched podcasts are the ones with guys like Jordan Peterson, Brett Weinstein, Sam Harris, intellectuals and thinkers, and even James Hetfield has been on of Metallica, and Mel Gibson, they were on there. Their numbers aren't comparable. And if you take it a little step further, Joe Rogan's not even a great pull on his own. You look at when he has a guest that's not as well known, or he has a guest that's didn't generate any buzz for themselves. It's about 1.2 million. I'm being kind of spitballing numbers here, but I know it's right around 1 million. I'll give him a credit of about 1.25 million. But then you compare and contrast with the aforementioned names that I have before, and they're in the 5, 6. Elon Musk's case, I think 11. Snowden's about 15, right? So it all depends on what guests are going to be there. And to bring it back to the Stern comparison one more time, once he got settled in at the new place that was paying him a buttload of money, he started to turn it down. It wasn't immediate. It took years. But he started to turn it down, dial it back, started to self-censor. He never had to worry about a company censoring him at that point. So just be wary. It's clear to me that the Joe Rogan Experience is far and away the most popular form of entertainment and media right now, in my opinion. And I'd like to see it maintain that standard. So I hope Joe does wildly successful on Spotify. And hopefully he stays true to himself, whatever that means to him. Well, guys, thanks a lot for taking the time to watch this. And I've been Don Consuelo. Follow your gut. Get after it. Take care, everyone.